Epictetus and Inner Freedom. How to be free even in challenging situations. Imagine waking up one morning to discover you've lost everything. Your job, your savings, even some important relationships. How would you react? This extreme-sounding question takes us to the heart of Epictetus's teachings, the slave who became one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers. His central message is paradoxically simple yet profoundly transformative. True freedom doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on our mastery over what happens within us. In an age where anxieties, uncertainties, and challenges seem to multiply, this ancient wisdom proves more necessary than ever. Epictetus began his life as a slave in imperial Rome. His name, meaning acquired, reveals his initial condition as an object, not a subject. Yet this man, who personally experienced the lack of external freedom, developed one of the most liberating philosophies ever conceived. His thinking is based on a crucial distinction. There are things within our control and things that are not. Obvious? Applying this principle can completely revolutionize our life experience. Everything external, possessions, reputation, positions, even our bodies, falls into the uncontrollable category. Our true power resides exclusively in our opinions, impulses, desires, and aversions. In short, our inner world. But how does this translate into practice? Consider a contemporary example. You're in an important work meeting when your boss publicly criticizes your project. The situation is undoubtedly uncomfortable. Most people's automatic response would be a mix of anger, shame, and anxiety. Epictetus would propose a radically different approach. Before reacting, ask yourself, what exactly is within my control right now? You don't control your boss's words or your colleagues' opinions, but you completely control how you interpret the event and how you choose to respond. This simple pause for discernment is already the first step toward inner freedom. Stoicism, as practiced by Epictetus, isn't about emotional repression. Quite the opposite. It's about recognizing emotions as natural phenomena, but not as absolute masters of our actions. When we say, so-and-so made me angry, we're making a serious philosophical error, according to Epictetus. No one can make us feel any emotion. What happens is that we interpret others' actions in a certain way, and from this interpretation emerges our emotional response. This shift in perspective is revolutionary. It means that between external stimulus and our response, there's a space, and in this space lies our freedom and power. One of Epictetus's most powerful practical exercises is the test of representation. Whenever we face a difficult situation, we should ask, what exactly am I perceiving here? This helps us deconstruct the automatic judgments we assign to events. For example, my flight was canceled is a fact. This is terrible and will ruin my trip is already a judgment-laden interpretation. By separating raw facts from our layers of interpretation, we gain room to choose responses more aligned with our values. The inner freedom Epictetus proposes requires constant training. He compared philosophy to a wrestling school where we prepare for life's challenges. His methods are surprisingly modern. Negative visualization, for instance, involves contemplating potential adversities that might occur. Far from being pessimism, it's an antidote to the illusion that everything must go as planned. When we internalize that setbacks are a natural part of existence, we stop suffering from the clash between expectation and reality. In a world obsessed with control over our image, relationships, careers, Epictetus's proposal sounds almost subversive. He invites us to a quiet revolution, shifting our emotional investment from what we can't control, nearly everything, to the only territory where we're truly sovereign, our mind and choices. This doesn't mean passivity toward life, but rather a radical redefinition of what we consider success. For the slave who became master of his own soul, true victory lies not in shaping the world to our liking, but in cultivating moral excellence, regardless of circumstances. Epictetus's philosophy comes fully alive when we face situations that seem to severely limit our freedom. Consider contemporary examples: a serious illness, significant financial loss, or emotional betrayal. These are the moments when Stoic training proves invaluable. Epictetus, who knew the physical confinement of slavery, insisted that even in chains, a man could be freer than his master, provided he had mastery over his judgments and attitudes. This statement, which may sound too poetic to be true, has been repeatedly confirmed by modern psychologists studying human resilience in prisoner camps and extreme situations. One of Epictetus's most transformative concepts is the idea that it's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Let's apply this to a common situation today: being fired. The fact itself is neutral. You no longer work at that company. The suffering comes from the layers of meaning we add. This proves I'm not good enough. I'll never find another job. What will others think? Epictetus would propose dismantling these beliefs by questioning each one. Is your value as a person truly tied to a job title? Do others' opinions have real power over your life? This questioning process doesn't deny the difficulty of the situation, but prevents it from becoming an existential catastrophe. Epictetus's Stoic practice also redefines what we consider good and evil. In the traditional view, goods include health, wealth, and success, while evils would be their opposites. Epictetus reverses this logic. The only true good is virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, self-control, and the only real evil is vice. Everything else, including what we typically fear or ardently desire, are indifferents. This doesn't mean they're irrelevant, but that their moral value depends on how we use them. Wealth used to help others is positive. The same wealth used to corrupt is negative. Poverty leading to despair is harmful. The same poverty stimulating creativity can be beneficial. This perspective has profound implications for our search for meaning. If what truly matters is always within our control, our moral choices, then we're never truly at the mercy of luck or misfortune. Epictetus used a powerful metaphor. Life is like a play where we don't choose the plot, but can choose how to perform our role. You might be cast as a beggar or a king. Neither defines your worth. What matters is how you play the character you've been given. This metaphor resonates strongly today, when so many feel frustrated for not living the perfect life showcased on social media. One of the most practical aspects of Epictetus's teaching is his focus on action, not just reflection. He advised students to begin with small daily practices. For example, when someone irritates you, instead of reacting immediately, pause to remember that the offense only has the power you grant it. Or when facing difficulty, ask not why is this happening to me, but how can I use this to become more resilient? These micro-exercises, repeated over time, rebuild our mental habits. Epictetus was particularly emphatic about one point. Philosophy that doesn't translate into action is worthless. Knowing Stoic principles without applying them would be like having a medical textbook while remaining ill. That's why he insisted so much on practical exercises. Stoicism is a philosophy designed for the battlefield of real life, not academic discussions. This emphasis on practice makes him an especially valuable guide for our time, when we're so rich in information and so poor in applied wisdom. The inner freedom Epictetus proposes isn't a permanent state that, once achieved, makes us immune to suffering. It's a daily conquest, a muscle-needing constant exercise. There will be days when circumstances seem greater than our capacity to respond. Epictetus himself admitted this, noting that even the philosopher remains human. But the beauty of his teaching lies precisely in this acknowledged humanity. We don't aspire to perfection, but to continuous progress. In an increasingly complex and unpredictable world, Epictetus's wisdom offers a safe harbor. When we internalize that our essence can't be harmed by anything external, only by our own concessions, we gain an unshakable foundation. Life storms will continue, but no longer as existential threats, rather as opportunities to practice the freedom we already carry within. This is perhaps the greatest legacy of the slave who taught how to be free, the understanding that the hardest chains to break aren't those binding the body, but those shackling the mind.